When it comes to Zebec, there's something that I like. And what is that? It's something about it fundamentally. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'll talk about 10 cents later on the video, this aspect that I want to talk about is something called next gen payroll for business. Now, people might be thinking, who really cares about that? Well, we have to consider Zebec's enterprise grade payroll engine enables organizations to pay employees, contractors, and contributors in stablecoins across multiple key supported chains, and this is supposedly done instantly, which I find pretty interesting because imagine when it comes to payrolls waiting 2 weeks or something like that. This is supposedly, instant, right? And it's not only just for, you know, let's say paying employees, it's also for contractors and contributors, again, like what I just mentioned before. So that's pretty cool. And when I take a look at it, granted, payrolls are not the most exciting thing to be focused on, but I think it's a thought that counts. And even there's a statistic that kind of showcases a little bit the significance of payrolls, but again, I don't think it's the biggest thing out there, but I'm going to mention it nonetheless because the global payroll market was valued at around 7.3 billion in 2025 according to Business Research Insights. So again, it's not necessarily going to be the biggest thing out there, but I just like to focus nonetheless. Now, when I take a look at it, why could Zebec, I think, be onto something here? Because if I take a look at even back in 2021, EY, right? Now, EY is one of the big four accounting firms, but besides that point, the 2021 EY Global Payroll Survey shows organizations continue to deal with challenges in achieving the payroll function of the future. So I think, again, it may kind of showcase some adaptability issues right there, maybe, right? At least from what I can kind of deduce from that. But at the same time, when I take a look at payrolls, again, it's nothing that's necessarily talked about too much. It doesn't have the most attention. Like, personally, for me, I've never heard anyone say, oh, yeah, we're going to join this space to believe in projects that are focused on payrolls. I've never heard that. I've heard people want to join for meme coins, maybe for layer one blockchains, maybe for blockchain gaming projects, but never projects that are focused on payrolls. And now payrolls is just an aspect of Zebec. Again, Zebec is focused on other areas too, which I'm going to talk about later. But then still, like, again, I just think it's pretty cool nonetheless. It's a pretty cool niche. And when I think about payrolls and I think about this space, like not that many comes to mind. I kind of think about Zebec actually, even though ZBCN by no means has the biggest market cap out there. I mean, how can it? Market cap is in the hundreds of millions. It's not even a billion right now. But what are other aspects that Zebec is focused on? Like, of course, payments and global chain finance, which is why a lot of people, including myself, kind of think about it as a miniature version of Stellar and Ripple, but with a Solana aspect, and then having a way lower market cap than XRP and as well as XLM. Now, also, we take a look at RWAs, or should I say real world assets. It's a kind of a proven thing, I would say, as of late, because we've seen, Ondo, which is heavily focused on that, and Ondo has done pretty well in the grand scheme of things, even despite altcoins not necessarily doing the best. And then we take a look at the Zebec cards. That by no means is reinventing the wheel because, again, it's nothing really that revolutionary. But again, when I take a look at the Zebec cards, what they've done with Bonk, for instance, Bonk is a pretty popular Solana-based meme coin. And when it comes to Zebec overall, when I saw what they did with Algorand, again, they're making some strides there. And when I take a look at it, I don't think it is this project that is only focused on one thing and nothing else. Again, it's pretty diverse in terms of the focus. It's even focused on, working towards ISO 20022 compliance, which is kind of a given, actually. I mean, it should, in my opinion, be focused on that because some other projects out there, they're not really focused on that, and they say they're focused on payments and global trade finance. I feel like they actually maybe should because Ripple and Stellar, they have an aspect of that, and that right there is kind of the standard, quote unquote, so to speak, that sometimes people want to see. And of course, we see an aspect of ISO 20022 when it comes to XDC. So, the box is ticked when it comes to that. We've, of course, seen that with Ripple and Stellar. But then when it comes to something like Zebec, we're still waiting on that. And who knows when exactly they will be able to do that. But in the compliance side of things, what they've done with SOC2 and as well as MICA, or should I say it's spelled MICA, again, it's kind of heading up there in terms of that. And I think they're actually taking it seriously. So, yeah, only time will tell, but I do like that focus as well when it comes to Zebec. In the grand scheme of things, sometimes people like to say, okay, but why don't you want an altcoin season to happen? Well, I really want an altcoin season to happen, actually, but it just hasn't happened during the cycle. And I think, yeah, sure, it may seem a little bit boring at times, but at least what I saw ZBCN do not too long ago had a really good rally, and then at one point it was around like an 11x away from the price of 10 cents, which was very fascinating. But even despite that, I don't think that was an altcoin season. But I really want one to happen, but I can't force or demand that to happen, right? The only thing I can do is literally just stay patient, and that's about it. So if let's say by just me holding, waiting, and dollar cost averaging, even though I'm not telling to do anything, but if for whatever reason I'm holding and I'm asleep for whatever reason when an altcoin season starts, if it ever even were to, or let's say I'm just doing some activities, and then let's say I wasn't checking my portfolio, I wasn't checking the price, and then suddenly there was an altcoin season, it's kind of like I didn't maybe necessarily miss out on that because I was just holding the entire time anyways. It's kind of like going along with the ride, if that makes sense. But again, I'm not telling you to do anything. This is just my outlook when it comes to Zebec. And also on top of that, people like to tell me, okay, but why would anyone want to believe in ZBCN if something like XRP and XLM exist, let alone XDC? I'm aware of that, but really in the grand scheme of things, when I take a look at something like those options, XDC, keep in mind, market cap is around 1 billion. But then XLM, of course, very massive. It's like pretty much 10 times that size, right, when compared to XDC. But then also on top of that, we take a look at XRP, which market cap not too long ago was around 200 billion. When it comes to those market caps, it's kind of relatively massive compared to something like ZBCN, which is just in the hundreds of millions as of right now. I don't think every single person out there that believes in, this space of payments and global trade finance is just naturally always just going to believe in XRP and XLM. There's other options too. Maybe there's not that many because when I take a look at the options for projects that are focused on payments and global trade and finance at below a $2 billion market cap, I think there's pretty much 5 compelling options, including XDC, ZBCN, and then as well as XCN, Swiftcoin, and XPR. Below $2 billion market cap within this space, again, that's not that many. If we remove ZBCN, because we are talking about it right now, that's like 4 other than ZBCN, right? That is below $2 billion in market cap, that is focused on payments and global trade and finance that I actually find compelling. So I don't think that something like ZBCN is under necessarily such stiff competition because, sure, there's competitors, but there's not that many. And then at the same time, it has an aspect of Solana, and even Solana Ventures is one of the backers when it comes to Zebec, and also Circle, which is the creator of USDC, the stablecoin. Not only do they supposedly hold a significant amount of ZBCN, but they're also a backer when it comes to Zebec. So overall, I do like what I'm seeing when it comes to this. I haven't given up, and I'm just staying patient. But nonetheless, I just wanted to mention, kind of the payroll aspect of Zebec real quick, just because sometimes people like to say, oh, who cares about that? Well, I just find it pretty interesting. And keep in mind, Zebec, at least the last time I checked, according to the last monthly volume report that I saw, it had over 200 payroll enterprise clients. So clearly it's been doing something. It's not doing nothing, And again, when it comes to the payroll side of things, having over 200 payroll enterprise clients, that's pretty impressive. So I'm still staying patient. Whenever an altcoin season starts, if it ever even wants to, that's totally beyond me, but I'm just going to stay patient nonetheless. Now, 10 cents, considering current circulating supply at that point, market cap would be around 9.5 billion. It's around a 25x from here, and that market cap is just nothing too outlandish in my opinion. It doesn't seem that ridiculous. Not even 5% of 200 billion, which we kind of saw XRP reach not too long ago around that market cap range. Again, 200 billion. So yeah, it's nothing that ridiculous, and not too long ago, 10 cents was around 11x from here. So the way I take a look at it is that it doesn't seem that far off, but who knows? It doesn't mean it will happen. It's just my thought process. I'm just staying patient, holding, and just waiting, and that's about it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.